The atmosphere in that school always felt strange, as if something was watching your every move. But among all the dark corners and empty rooms, there was one place that was most feared, a long hallway at the end of the old building, which everyone called the Forbidden Corridor. No one knew for sure why the hallway was always locked and left dark. Some students claimed to have heard faint whispers when passing by its door. Others swore they saw shadows moving behind the dusty window panes. But one thing was certain, whoever tried to enter it, never came back with the same story. This time, we're going to uncover the mystery behind the hallway. Is this just a myth, or is there something truly hiding inside? Be prepared, because after this, you might not look at the school the same way again. There's a hallway on the 3rd floor of this school that's always locked. All students are forbidden from passing through it, and even the teachers are reluctant to discuss it. But the more it's forbidden, the more curious people become. And one night, 3 students dared to enter the hallway, and experienced something they could never forget. Anton, Michael, and Agnes were best friends who loved seeking challenges. They often tested their courage by exploring haunted places. And this time, the 3rd floor hallway became their target. According to the story, there was once a female student named Rena who was found dead there. Since then, cries have often been heard from the hallway. That night, they snuck into the school. With flashlights in hand, they climbed the stairs to the 3rd floor. Strangely, the hallway door, which should have been locked, was slightly open. As they entered, the air felt colder. Their footsteps echoed, as if someone else was walking behind them. "Did you hear that? It's like someone's following us," said Agnes. "Don't be silly. It's just your imagination," said Anton. Suddenly, Agnes stopped. She felt something touch her shoulder. When she turned around, there was no one there. But on the old blackboard at the end of the hallway, a message slowly appeared with chalk that moved on its own: "Leave. We have to get out of here," said Michael. They turned around, but the door that was open before, was now shut tight. They tried to open it, but couldn't. The sound of crying started to come from inside the hallway, getting louder and louder. From behind the shadows, the silhouette of a girl appeared slowly. "Who's that?" asked Anton, trembling with fear. The flashlights flickered and then died completely. In the darkness, they could only hear the sound of laughter getting closer. Suddenly, something clawed Michael's arm. He screamed in pain. When the flashlight turned back on, they saw a girl with empty eyes and a wide smile standing right in front of them. Darkness. Everything went dark. The next morning, the school janitor found them lying on the hallway floor, unconscious with pale faces. No one knew what really happened. But since that night, they never dared to talk about the incident. And the hallway remained locked forever. A few months later, a new student, Davis, heard the story about the forbidden hallway. He didn't believe it and planned to prove that it was just a myth. One night, he snuck into the school alone. "Ah, silly ghost stories. I'll prove this is just made up," said Davis, dismissing all the stories. As Davis entered the hallway, the air turned cold. It was silent around him, too silent. He turned on his flashlight and walked slowly. But suddenly, the door behind him slammed shut. Davis tried to open the door, but couldn't. Behind him, the sound of chalk writing on the blackboard returned. With trembling hands, Dika shone his flashlight on the blackboard. The writing said, "You're next." Davis screamed, but his voice seemed to be swallowed by the darkness. That night, he was never found. From that moment on, every night, the sound of footsteps and soft laughter could often be heard from the 3rd floor hallway, waiting for its next victim. A few years later, the school underwent renovations. The workers began to demolish the 3rd floor, including the forbidden hallway. However, Something shocking was found behind the wall of the hallway, a small room that was tightly closed, as if it had been deliberately hidden. When the workers entered, they found something horrifying. Inside the small room, there was an old bench, a dusty blackboard, and a small skull resting in the corner. And on the wall, there was a faint inscription, "I'm still here." Since that discovery, strange events have become more frequent. The workers reported hearing cries from inside the hallway, equipment moving on its own, and occasionally, the shadow of a girl standing in the corner of the room. And now, the school is locked again, because the forbidden hallway is not just a myth. It is a prison for a soul that cannot leave, and perhaps, is still waiting for its next playmate. Thank you for watching. And may your sleep be peaceful.